The introduction to the War of 1812, with a focus on Jackson's victory at New Orleans, requires setting the context to fully appreciate the complexities and outcomes of this historical conflict. The War of 1812 was essentially a military conflict between the United States and Britain, triggered by issues such as trade restrictions stemming from Britain's ongoing war with France, the impressment of American sailors into the British Navy, and American expansionist desires. This context is crucial because it highlights the challenges and motivations that shaped the conflict and, eventually, the triumph at New Orleans. Jackson's victory at New Orleans is significant due to its dramatic and morale-boosting nature. Although the Treaty of Ghent had effectively ended the war before the battle took place, the news had not yet reached the combatants. Thus, Jackson's defensive success against a seasoned British force became a symbol of American resilience and capability, strengthening national pride and fostering a sense of unity. Consider the example of the Treaty of Ghent, which, despite being signed before the battle, was relatively unknown to the forces on the ground due to the slow communication methods of the time. This misalignment underscores the challenges of information dissemination during wartime, which remains relevant today in discussions about the fog of war and decision-making in real-time conflicts. Another pertinent example is the portrayal of Andrew Jackson. His leadership at New Orleans bolstered his national reputation, eventually propelling him to the presidency, demonstrating how military success can translate into political capital. A prevailing opinion of the time was that the Battle of New Orleans proved American military prowess and justified the war, even though it did not alter the war's outcome with Britain. However, this view can be contentious. Critics argue that the war, especially its causes and handling, was avoidable and costly, casting a shadow over perceived victories. Furthermore, the War of 1812 context connects directly to issues of American identity and foreign policy. It influenced Native American relations, curtailed British support for native resistance in the West, and underscored self-sufficiency and military readiness, shaping future American military doctrine and diplomatic relations. Also, it raises questions about the sensibility of war based on communication failures, strategic misjudgments, and political motivations, prompting ongoing debates about war ethics and decision-making processes. In sum, setting the context of the War of 1812 is fundamental to understanding Jackson's pivotal role at New Orleans and the broader implications of the victory for American history and identity. The prelude to battle, strategic importance of New Orleans was a critical aspect of the War of 1812, setting the stage for one of its most decisive engagements. At the time, New Orleans was a linchpin in the trade and transportation networks of the United States. Situated at the mouth of the Mississippi River, the city was a gateway for agricultural exports from the vast Mississippi River Valley to global markets, especially Europe and the Caribbean. This made it a strategic target for the British, seeking to disrupt American trade and assert control over the region. The significance of New Orleans in the War of 1812 can't be overstated. Controlling the city would have allowed the British to potentially isolate the western frontier settlements from the eastern states, crippling American economic strength and territorial expansion. For the United States, defending New Orleans was not just about protecting a city, but crucial for safeguarding national security and ensuring that the young country's economic lifelines remained intact. Two notable examples underscore the strategic importance of New Orleans. Firstly, during the war, the British saw controlling New Orleans as a way to sever America's vital economic artery and command the Gulf Coast. Secondly, for the U.S., the preservation of New Orleans secured the nation's access to the Mississippi River, facilitating trade essential for the survival and growth of the frontier states. The city was essentially a symbol of economic stability and expansion possibilities for the burgeoning nation. Supporters of this viewpoint highlight that the victory at New Orleans, led by Andrew Jackson, bolstered national morale and sealed a sense of triumph against a historically powerful adversary, despite the Treaty of Ghent having been signed weeks earlier. Jackson's leadership is often celebrated for its demonstration of resilient American spirit and capability. However, some controversies surround the strategic decisions leading up to the battle. Critics argue that communication failures delayed the message of the war's official end, questioning whether the battle was necessary. Furthermore, there are debates about the methods used by Jackson in fortifying the city and his subsequent imposition of martial law, raising concerns about civil liberties. The capture or successful defense of New Orleans was pivotal. It connected directly to the broader strategies of economic development and security for a nation still writing its foundational chapter. This point intricately ties to the themes of national resilience, the valor of leadership, and the pursuit of sovereignty, enhancing our understanding of the overarching narrative of the War of 1812. Leadership and strategy in the context of Andrew Jackson's command during the Battle of New Orleans is pivotal to understanding his critical role in the War of 1812. Andrew Jackson, a major general in the United States Army, demonstrated exceptional leadership and strategic acumen that led to an astounding and decisive victory against the British forces, despite facing substantial odds. His ability to muster a diverse militia, foster unity among his men, and expertly utilize the surrounding geography established him as a formidable military leader. The significance of this point lies in how Jackson's leadership not only secured a crucial American victory, but also bolstered national morale and patriotism, which played a significant role in shaping the post-war American identity. Two examples that highlight Jackson's effective leadership include his recruitment and integration of a heterogeneous group of fighters, including regular Army soldiers, militia, free African Americans, Native Americans, and even pirates led by Jean Lafitte. This strategy enabled Jackson to augment his forces, demonstrating his ability to transcend traditional military structures. Additionally, his strategic use of the terrain around New Orleans to fortify defensive positions along the Rodriguez Canal showcased his tactical ingenuity. By capitalizing on local geography, he effectively maximized his military resources against a numerically superior enemy. Opinions supporting Jackson's leadership highlight his decisiveness, charisma, and ability to inspire his troops under dire circumstances. His insistence on strict discipline and his personal engagement with soldiers bolstered morale and cohesiveness among a diverse fighting force. However, there are controversies and alternative viewpoints related to his methods. Critics point to his harsh discipline and sometimes ruthless tactics, arguing they reflected a broader pattern of authoritarianism in his later political life. Jackson's leadership at New Orleans had broader implications for the War of 1812. It symbolized a turning point, as the resounding victory proved critical for American negotiating power during the Treaty of Ghent discussions. Furthermore, it propelled Jackson into national prominence, setting the stage for his future presidency and impacting the political landscape of the United States. While the Battle of New Orleans occurred after the treaty was signed, news of the victory reached Washington, D.C. before the treaty, thereby engendering a sense of triumph and enhancing national unity. In essence, Jackson's command during this iconic battle not only influenced the outcome of the conflict, but also left an indelible mark on the nation's historical and political trajectory. The Battle of New Orleans, a pivotal moment during the War of 1812, exemplifies strategic military engagements and tactics that significantly impacted the war's outcome. This heading, "The Battle Unfolds: Key Engagements and Tactics," focuses on the military maneuvers and strategic decisions that General Andrew Jackson and his forces employed to secure an overwhelming victory against the British. Significantly, the tactics used in this battle were crucial in shaping the war's resolution, highlighting the strategic genius of General Jackson. His ability to harness a diverse group of soldiers, including regular troops, militias, free African Americans, Native Americans, and even pirates under Jean Lafitte, exemplifies effective military leadership. Jackson's strategic choice to fortify his position at the Rodriguez Canal allowed his forces to repel the numerically superior British troops, who were caught off guard by the American defensive position and effective use of artillery. A key tactical engagement was the nighttime surprise attack Jackson led on December 23, 1814, which disrupted the British advance and bought critical time for American forces to prepare strong defensive positions. Another important aspect was the effective use of the narrow battlefield, which funneled the British into concentrated areas where they were subjected to sustained American firepower. These engagements illustrate the innovative and flexible tactics employed by Jackson, contributing to what would become a lopsided battle, with British forces suffering heavy casualties compared to the Americans. Opinions supporting Jackson's tactics emphasize his ability to adapt and exploit weaknesses in the British approach, demonstrating his military acumen despite being outnumbered. However, some challenges and controversies arise from the fact that the Treaty of Ghent, which ended the war, had been signed before the battle, rendering its outcome technically moot. This raises questions about the battle's necessity and the communication delays of the time. This battle not only ended on a high note for American morale, but also solidified Andrew Jackson's reputation as a national hero, influencing his subsequent political career and presidency. It underscores the importance of tactical planning in warfare and is often considered a decisive factor that contributed to a surge of nationalism and confidence in the United States. Ultimately, the Battle of New Orleans exemplifies how strategic military engagements can influence both immediate military outcomes and broader historical trajectories, underscoring warfare's complexities and the profound impact of leadership and tactics.